Ancient Egypt, Hebrews thrive near the Nile, their numbers growing rapidly. Pharaoh, worried by their increasing population, feels threatened by the Hebrews. A Hebrew baby boy, Moses, is born to a loving mother and father. The parents rejoice, but fear Pharaoh's cruel decree to kill Hebrew male infants. The mother makes a courageous decision, trusting in God's protection. She crafts a waterproof basket from reeds, sealing it carefully with tar. She lines the inside of the basket with soft cloth for her precious baby. With a heavy heart, she places baby Moses gently into the prepared basket. She carries the basket to the edge of the Nile River at dawn. She sets the basket afloat on the Nile, praying for a miracle to save him. The basket drifts slowly, carried by the gentle current of the river. Moses' sister, Miriam, remains nearby, hidden amongst the tall reeds. She watches anxiously, her eyes fixed on the small basket floating away. Miriam hopes and prays for her little brother's safety and well-being. The sun rises higher, casting a golden glow on the Nile River. Birds chirp and fly overhead, seemingly unaware of the drama unfolding. Miriam strains her eyes, trying to keep the basket within her sight. The river flows onward, carrying Moses towards an unknown destiny. Miriam whispers a silent prayer, begging God to protect her brother. The basket bobs gently on the water, a tiny vessel of hope and faith. The reeds sway in the breeze, concealing Miriam's presence. She clutches a small stone, a symbol of her love and determination. The fate of Moses hangs in the balance, a testament to his mother's faith. Miriam's heart pounds with a mixture of fear and unwavering hope. The sun climbs higher, and the day grows warmer along the Nile. The basket continues its journey, guided by the unseen hand of God. Miriam remains vigilant, her eyes never leaving the fragile vessel. She knows that her brother's life depends on what happens next. The river whispers secrets as it carries Moses towards his destiny. Miriam's love for her brother fuels her unwavering dedication. The basket drifts further downstream, disappearing around a bend. Miriam quickly and quietly moves to keep the basket in her view. She continues to pray for the safety of her baby brother Moses. The sun beats down on the riverbank, the heat intensifying. Miriam shields her eyes, determined to follow the basket's progress. She trusts that God will protect Moses, no matter what may come. The basket floats serenely, seemingly untouched by the dangers around it. Miriam's faith remains strong, even in the face of uncertainty. The river flows on, carrying Moses towards an unknown future. Miriam watches, a silent guardian, her heart filled with love and hope. The basket is getting further and further away now. She must continue to follow it, no matter how far it goes. Miriam is determined to see what fate has in store for Moses. She knows that God is watching over them both. Miriam will not give up hope. She will protect her brother. The basket is now a small speck in the distance. Miriam's determination is unwavering. She will follow the basket to the ends of the earth. The sun is now high in the sky, beating down on the river. Miriam shields her eyes and continues to watch. She is tired, but she will not give up. She knows that Moses needs her. The basket is still floating, a sign of hope. Miriam is grateful for God's protection. She will continue to pray for Moses' safety. The basket is now approaching a bend in the river. Miriam quickens her pace to keep up. She is determined to see what is on the other side. She hopes that Moses will be safe. She trusts in God's plan for her brother. Miriam watched from the reeds as the basket floated away, her heart pounding. The basket drifted gently along the Nile's current. Sunlight sparkled on the water, reflecting off the woven reeds. Birds chirped overhead, their songs echoing in the quiet morning. Butterflies danced around the reeds, flitting from flower to flower. The river flowed steadily, carrying the small basket further downstream. Inside, baby Moses slept peacefully, unaware of the danger. The basket bumped softly against the riverbank. Pharaoh's daughter arrived at the river with her handmaidens. They came to bathe in the cool, refreshing water of the Nile. The princess walked along the bank, enjoying the serene scenery. One of the handmaidens spotted something unusual in the reeds. "Princess, look. There's a basket hidden among the plants." The princess turned her gaze towards the woven container. Curiosity piqued. She instructed her servants to retrieve it. The handmaidens waded into the water, carefully pulling the basket free. They carried it to the princess, placing it gently at her feet. The princess knelt down, her heart filled with anticipation. She slowly opened the lid of the basket, Her eyes widened at the sight of the baby boy inside. Moses stirred in his sleep, then opened his eyes. He looked up at the princess with innocent wonder. The princess's heart melted at the sight of the beautiful child. Tears welled up in her eyes as she gazed at the infant. "He's a Hebrew child," one of the handmaidens whispered. The princess ignored the comment, her mind already made up. Moved by compassion, she decided to adopt him as her own. "I will raise him as my son," she declared. The handmaidens exchanged surprised glances. The princess carefully lifted Moses from the basket. She cradled him in her arms, holding him close to her heart. She felt an instant connection with the child. "I will name him Moses," she announced, "for I drew him out of the water." The princess smiled down at the baby in her arms. Moses gurgled happily, reaching for her face. The handmaidens bowed their heads in respect. The princess stood up, holding Moses securely. She turned to leave the riverbank, her heart filled with joy. She knew that this child was special. She would protect him and raise him with love. Miriam watched from the reeds, relief washing over her. Her brother was safe, at least for now, but she knew that their story was far from over. The princess walked back to the palace with Moses. The sun shone brightly on the happy pair. The princess began to hum a gentle lullaby. Moses drifted back to sleep in her arms. The handmaidens followed closely behind. They were ready to serve the princess and her new son. The palace gates came into view. The guards stood at attention, ready to welcome them. The princess entered the palace, holding Moses high. The palace was filled with light and warmth. Moses was about to begin a new life, a life of privilege and protection. But his destiny was already written. He was destined for something greater. He was destined to lead his people. He was destined to change the world. The princess gazed at baby Moses, her heart filled with compassion. Miriam, who had been watching from afar, saw her opportunity. She cautiously approached the princess and her handmaidens. Miriam bowed respectfully, her voice calm and clear. "Shall I find a Hebrew woman to nurse and care for the baby?" The princess considered Miriam's offer, intrigued by the suggestion. A smile touched her lips. It was a practical and compassionate idea. "Yes," the princess replied. "That would be wonderful." Miriam's heart leaped with joy and relief at the princess's agreement. She quickly turned and ran towards her mother's hidden location. Miriam found her mother, breathless with anticipation and worry. "Mother, the princess will let you nurse Moses." Moses's mother's eyes widened in disbelief and overwhelming joy. She embraced Miriam tightly, tears streaming down her face. They hurried back to the princess, their hearts filled with hope. The princess waited patiently, cradling the baby Moses gently. Miriam returned with her mother, presenting her to the princess. The princess smiled warmly, entrusting Moses to the Hebrew woman. "Care for him as your own," the princess instructed kindly. Moses' mother took him in her arms, her heart overflowing with love. She held him close, whispering prayers of gratitude to God. Under the guise of a nursemaid, she returned to the palace. She nursed Moses, providing him with nourishment and love. She taught him about their Hebrew heritage and their God. She shared stories of their ancestors and their faith. Moses listened intently, absorbing every word his mother spoke. He learned about the covenant God had made with Abraham. He discovered the history of his people and their struggles. His mother instilled in him a deep sense of identity. She taught him the importance of faith and obedience to God. Moses grew stronger, both physically and spiritually, under her care. He thrived in the palace, surrounded by luxury and privilege. But his heart remained connected to his Hebrew roots. He never forgot the story of his miraculous rescue from the Nile. He knew that God had a special purpose for his life. The princess watched Moses grow, pleased with his progress. She treated him as her own son, providing him with the best education. He learned about Egyptian culture, history, and philosophy. He excelled in his studies, impressing the palace scholars. He became skilled in warfare, horsemanship, and diplomacy. He was admired by many for his intelligence and charisma. But Moses never forgot his true identity as a Hebrew. He felt a deep connection to his people and their suffering. He often visited the Hebrew slaves, witnessing their hardship. He saw the brutality of the Egyptian taskmasters. His heart ached for his people and their plight. He yearned for the day when they would be free from slavery. God's hand was upon Moses, guiding him and preparing him. He was being shaped into the leader he was destined to become. The palace walls could not contain his true calling forever. The seeds of liberation had been planted in his heart. The time for Moses to fulfill his destiny was drawing near. He continued to learn and grow, waiting for God's command. His faith remained strong, unwavering in the face of adversity. He trusted that God would use him to deliver his people. The stage was set for Moses to step into his divine purpose. Egypt held its breath, unaware of the storm that was coming. The Hebrew slaves prayed for deliverance, their hope renewed. Moses was ready to answer God's call, whatever the cost. His journey from a basket to a leader was about to begin. Moses' mother held him close, tears of joy streaming down her face. She whispered prayers of thanks to God for his protection. The princess smiled, unaware of the true bond between mother and child. Time passed, and Moses grew into a strong and curious boy. He lived in the palace, surrounded by luxury and privilege. Egyptian tutors taught him mathematics, hieroglyphs, and warfare, but his mother secretly taught him about his Hebrew heritage. She told him stories of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. She spoke of the God of their ancestors, the one true God. Moses learned of the Hebrews suffering under Pharaoh's rule. He saw the harsh treatment of his people, the back-breaking labor. His heart ached for their plight, their cries for freedom. He felt a growing sense of injustice and a desire to help. One day, Moses witnessed an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. His anger flared, and he intervened, striking down the Egyptian. He buried the body in the sand, hoping no one had seen. But the deed was discovered, and Moses feared Pharaoh's wrath. He fled Egypt, seeking refuge in the land of Midian. He wandered through the desert, alone and uncertain of his future. He came to a well and saw shepherds harassing young women. Moses defended the women and watered their flock. Reuel, the priest of Midian, welcomed Moses into his home. Moses married Zipporah, Reuel's daughter, and started a family. He tended Reuel's sheep, learning patience and resilience. Years passed, and Moses lived a quiet life in Midian. But God had not forgotten him, nor had he abandoned his people. One day, while tending the flock, Moses saw a burning bush. The bush was engulfed in flames, yet it was not consumed. Moses approached the burning bush in amazement. God spoke to Moses from the midst of the flames. "Moses, Moses," God called out. Moses answered, "Here I am." God revealed his plan to deliver the Israelites from slavery. He commanded Moses to return to Egypt and confront Pharaoh. Moses was hesitant, feeling inadequate for such a task. He questioned his ability to speak eloquently. God reassured him, promising to be with him and Aaron. God would give them the words to say and the power to act. God instructed him to tell Pharaoh, "Let my people go." Moses, strengthened by God's promise, prepared to return. He knew the task ahead would be difficult and dangerous, but he trusted in God's power and unwavering support. He bid farewell to his family and set out for Egypt. With faith as his guide, Moses embarked on his divine mission. He carried the staff of God, a symbol of his authority. He returned to Egypt, ready to face Pharaoh and liberate his people. His story is a testament to God's protection and power. It shows how faith can overcome adversity. Even the smallest can be used for extraordinary purposes. Moses' journey was just beginning. Guided by God's grace, he would lead the Israelites to freedom. He would become a great leader and prophet. His name would be remembered for generations. His legacy would inspire countless others. Moses' story is a beacon of hope. It reminds us that God is always with us. He protects us and guides us. He empowers us to overcome any obstacle. Moses' faith was unwavering. He trusted in God's plan